From the outside, the 75-acre Caribbean estate of Little St. James looked like a billionaire's private paradise. But the locals who lived on the surrounding islands knew it by a different name: Pedophile Island. Behind the high security and luxury guest houses, this was a highly organized, inescapable hub. Girls as young as 12 were brought here under the guise of offering massages or doing administrative work. Surrounded by miles of open ocean, their passports were often confiscated, trapping them in a cycle of sexual abuse. We know the precise details of this operation because of the Epstein files, a massive cache of court documents, private flight logs, and a personal black book that mapped out a global trafficking network. These records implicate some of the most influential people on the planet. Renowned scientists, tech billionaires, American presidents, and foreign royalty all traveled to this island. Jeffrey Epstein did not operate in the shadows. He ran a prolific exploitation ring in broad daylight, shielded by the exact people who utilized his services. In the 1970s, Epstein was a college dropout teaching high school math in Brooklyn. Yet seemingly overnight, he transitioned into a high-rolling Wall Street financier, managing money for the ultra-rich. His fortune makes absolutely no sense on paper. He never ran a famous hedge fund. He never took a major company public. His entire business model operated with zero standard financial transparency. Instead of building a traditional firm, he attached himself to established billionaires, like retail magnate Les Wexner. Wexner gave Epstein sweeping control over his wealth, signing a power of attorney, a legal document granting someone the absolute authority to manage your money, assets, and legal affairs. Client money enters, immediately fracturing into dozens of opaque shell companies, making it impossible for regulators to trace the cash. Scrambling the paper trail let him quietly siphon millions for New York properties, private jets, and the trafficking island, without triggering audits. He was never a traditional investor. His actual product was secrecy. He brokered introductions, provided private spaces, and gathered immense leverage, making himself an indispensable access provider to the global elite. The entire operation faced its first real threat in March 2005, when a 14-year-old girl and her parents walked into a police station to report an assault. As investigators dug in, they uncovered a calculated system. This diagram illustrates his recruitment network. Epstein targeted vulnerable teenage girls, paying them cash bonuses to recruit their friends. Those friends recruited more friends, creating a viral pyramid scheme of exploitation. The FBI launched Operation Leap Year. They compiled 53 pages of hard evidence, tracked down dozens of minors, and built an airtight case of international sex trafficking that carried a life sentence. But the trial never happened. Federal prosecutor Alexander Acosta stepped in and brokered a secret plea deal with Epstein's lawyers. The terms defied the basic principles of the American legal system. The agreement was sealed. The victims were illegally kept in the dark about the negotiations. Epstein pled guilty to minor state charges, receiving just 18 months in a private luxury wing where he was allowed to leave for 12 hours a day to work from his office. Years later, Acosta reportedly told colleagues he was instructed to back off because Epstein belonged to intelligence. The prevailing theory is that his operation was an intelligence asset, gathering blackmail on heads of state and royalty. The justice system was systematically weaponized. It suspended its own rules to shield the powerful men who utilized his services. The case sat buried for a decade until 2018, when Miami and Miami Herald investigative journalist Julie K. Brown tracked down 80 potential victims and published the stories the government had tried to hide. The public outrage was immediate and overwhelming. Under immense pressure, federal agents arrested Epstein in July 2019 on severe sex trafficking charges. During a raid on his New York mansion, the FBI found the physical evidence of his blackmail empire. They uncovered safes filled with compact discs containing victim photographs, illicit documents, and a fake Austrian passport. Epstein was facing up to 45 years in prison. But on the morning of August 10, 2019, he was found dead in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center. The official autopsy ruled it a suicide, but the security failures that night fueled immediate suspicion. The cameras outside his cell malfunctioned. His cellmate was transferred out the day prior. and guards completely skipped their mandatory welfare checks. Whether he took his own life or was murdered, the ultimate result was identical. The primary witness against the global elite was silenced forever. Today, the battle centers entirely on the unsealed Epstein files. Thousands of pages of court documents remain locked away from the public. When the Justice Department does release batches of documents, they are heavily censored. The names of the teenage victims are public, but the identities of the high-profile clients remain completely blacked out. Now, these files are weaponized in partisan politics. Leaders who flew on his private jets dismiss the scandal as a hoax, or publicly promise to declassify the documents, only to suddenly drop the issue once they take office. They campaign on transparency to rally their voters, while quietly deploying legal teams to ensure their own connections to the island stay buried in the archives. The Epstein files are an active ledger of a compromised society. Jeffrey Epstein is dead, but the billionaires, politicians, and royals who protected him still run the world.